Hello.
Yeah.
Oh nay, yeah.
Oh my
Sorry.
god.
I lost all my notes from
Bruh.
fucking last time. I need to Kraig, real quick. Are you circumcised?
I got enough space to fit a couple
Okay.
extra things.
Wait, you
I
didn't
should
say yes
be
or
good for the
no.
time.
What the
Alright.
fuck?
Whilst I'm
Good.
fixing your talkies because I forgot to, who would like to give the recap?
I'll do it.
You know what? We're doing old Kraig.
Oh.
And we're doing old Gruul. Life is full of brightness, Gruul.
Man, I sure hope that I can
Wait.
bring that back one
Whoops,
day.
that was the wrong orc. Please, continue.
Oh, we're all just the same,
Alright.
too?
Here we go. Last time on Sagas and Solace, the Convergence, I guess is the new name. We barely had a session before going off on a different adventure for a bit, but upon returning to Arcadum, we decided to spend some of our time dealing with delegates and people from various places. One such was... What was his name? Gruul, what was the Galilean man's name?
Oh, you want to rely on me to remember?
I just need a name, okay, please.
Onise.
Onise, thank you very much. Okay, so, since Sewigg is the most helpful person here, we discussed with Onise about his people and their potential help with the Fey Gate in the Twilight Hills. He seemed to be almost subtly overjoyed at the idea of it, perhaps because it was too good to be true. But in the end, he did agree, and we'll be using his services in the future. And then Carter arrived a little ahead of the rest of the people who were expecting for the grand meeting of world leaders. And with him, he had brought two others. We had Shield Captain Rhoda Caress and Inquisitor Trent. High Inquisitor Trent? I forget which one it is. They are here to promote the church's interests, but not really, because none of them are exactly aligned with their current... it's complicated. And then, of course, we received delegates from all across Corvanus here to have a big meeting. And I got dressed up fancy, and Mr. Ninanoth is going to be leading the meeting. So here we are at the table.
Well, Mouse, if you touch my hand for longer than 10 seconds, I will fucking stab.
Your hands are covered in rock dust. No, thank you.
It's formal, High Inquisitor.
You better not rub your thumb on
Do
my
not
knuckles.
Give me your hand there,
You
Miss
better
Marlowe.
not be from España.
I'll fight to the death.
Alright. So, all that put aside, does everybody remember the insight checks?
For the most part?
She gives no...
Chrome and Sewigg got high, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This was
Oh,
giving
the people who
out
didn't
his,
like people.
presents. So these guys can't get to these.
This guy's
He
potentially
hates
gay.
them. No one cares.
It was the relationships between all the political parties and NPCs and things.
Yeah,
Correct.
the initial vibe when they all started singing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was making sure everybody's got that in their head.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember most of it.
Okay. That's fine if you don't remember everything. But I think... Okay, here we go. What's good?
You got Dua Lipa.
Word.
I don't
Breaking
even.
Sevenfold.
I don't think I've ever.
I like Dua Lipa.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta reload. I don't have any side menus. It's weird.
What's going on with you?
I don't know, man.
Like all over the place.
Yeah.
All right, let's do. Yeah, we'll do. Oh, actually, we're doing it in Moab. Maybe I'll do this. Is it too distracting? That's a little too.
Can we have a stream sub goal? You guys get those Twitch Primes to license Dua Lipa music? From a while ago.
License Duo Lipo music. Yeah. All right, we'll just
Duo Lipa.
What genre does Dua Lipa participate in?
Yeah, I don't even. I've never heard a song from them.
Don't pretend like you don't know.
Okay. I won't.
Brother, I
pretend
don't.
like I don't.
Please.
I have no idea.
I will actually not know instead of pretending that I don't.
I'll address this after stream. Don't worry.
Okay. All right, here we go. So, as the delegates get seated, there are varying expressions that you see amongst them. Many of them eyeing one another with differing levels of contempt, suspicion, respect, and honest curiosity. As all become seated, Laza will seal the gates to ensure that the meeting is not disturbed, and each of the Carnelian Circle take their places. As everyone takes their seats, the first to stand is Aelin Trueheart, Barrow King. His voice.
It was raspy.
Yeah. I just.
But sexy.
Okay. Cool. I don't want to. I don't want to have a not sexy voice. You know?
Good.
Like Lander.
Yes,
My
Lander.
name is Aelin Trueheart. I'm from España.
I am from España. Okay, here we go. Delegates, you have been called to this place as neutral ground of the Carnelian Circle. It is by my request and my political backing that you have come to listen to what an ancient might have to say. Soon I shall cede the floor to the respectable speaker of the Carnelian Circle. If any should question the legitimacy of their right to run this meeting, they may look to me and see that it is by my hand they are given such authority. As the Barrow King speaks, legitimizing your capacity as a generally unknown political entity to speak to the rest of the leaders of Corvinus, he will then look towards you, Marlowe, and will gesture for you to begin. Before we get started, couple things I want to go over, some rules and regulations. First, it's going to take all of my cognitive ability to focus on running these guys. So, generally speaking, I'm not going to be doing like text bubbles and like stuff like that, because it's going to take everything I've got just to make sure I'm in the right mind space. I will try to make the voices distinct. If people are unsure who I'm talking as, just ask me. I will try to move my mouse over it and all of that, of whoever I'm talking as, to try to help out.
Do you want me to do your T-bubbles for you?
Sure. Yeah, that might be helpful.
I pretty much heard all these guys' voices.
Okay. For the players, there will be no above board talk.
Mm-hmm.
You're at the table. You're going to have to trust in each other's intuition and speak as if you're all at the table. So no above board talk, no talking around stuff this time. Try to be in character as much as you can. If people want to force a social role, you may feel free to do so. For the most part, Rolls will only be called from me if I believe that something requires it. Keep in mind that I'm not going to warn you against lies or persuasions or intimidates or anything like that you could or could not do. That's up to your own intuition and your, I guess, willpower to try and push a situation. Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Copy that.
Correct.
All right.
One meta above board talk thing before we get rolling. Kraig wanted to launch the conversation off. Do we roll with the RP as of now that you lean towards me, or do we?
You can simply gesture towards Gruul. That's
Okay.
fine.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. The Barrel King knows you're the charisma character, which is why he gestured to you.
Okay. Cool.
Also, Gruul is super undead. So
Yeah.
But anyway, as the Barrel King gestures towards Marlowe
will look over at Gruul. He'll say, Gruul, perhaps if you'd like to give an introduction of who we are as a group. If you'd like to take the head of this, I can get into the details later.
He'll nod and simply stand up. I would like to start by thanking you all for coming together. I understand many of you are apprehensive gathering with many of the people here. But first, I would like to introduce which one is that? T? I would like to introduce ourselves. I am Nenanoff. To my right is Knarh, clan root. This is Marlowe, follower of Izakeen. This one here is known as Twilight Mouse, although a noble family. This is Sewigg, our archdruid. And this is Veneth Tyr. I would like to first state that, though there may be many questions to come, that I ask that you wait for us to finish our explanations, and then we may open up.
Upon your request, you will see that many of the faces at the table exchange glances with their seconds as well as others that are seated. You hear no complaints, but you feel a palpable skepticism. But no one interrupts. Continue.
The first thing I want to get away from is that this will not be a peace talk. We will not ask any of you to stay your hands on your current wars, to tell you that to give up on ancient grievances, new ones, or any such things. This is not what we are here for. What we are here for is a growing sickness that we can all see going through our lands. An alien thing brought here by a man's hand. Many of you might know this from the Broken Brothers, hearing it of it growing within the Pale City, and in many other places soon to be growing as well. This, we believe, is a tragedy that may very well take the life of every person upon this continent. Now, for a greater explanation, I will hand it over to Marlowe.
Before you begin, persuasion check, Gruul.
Not you. Oh, sorry, I didn't switch characters. 1 second. Okay.
Continue, Marlowe.
Marlowe will look over, acknowledging Gruul, and he will turn to face the crowd of people. Let us, if I might ask, suspend the disbelief of strange bedfellows for the time being. I am Marlowe the Bard, Malphas of Majortal in the Tongue of Sand, the sands of Calcatesh. I am one of 6 of the Carnelian Circle, kinsmen of your land, who have seen the apocalypse of your home and have taken it upon themselves to fight against its demise. I'm a man who stands here by the thinnest thread of conviction. I know what a home that is unbroken looks like, Every day I am on this broken land, I am held juxtaposed by the knowledge that there are countless other places less broken and savage and foreign than this place you call home. But while I retain my conviction, despite its shallowness, I have come here to perhaps try to do what I know is right. I have no judgment of ethic to deliver unto you from my people or my lands, no unsolicited advice from a foreigner who does not share your ways. I bear what I see as sacred, and that is knowledge, unperverted, unbiased, and delivered to all of you in all parties, so that they may exercise their sacred free will and use this knowledge to shape the world. Your world is dying. Within a decade, the lands will tear themselves asunder and the ancients of the Andvanti myth will reshape the terrain. This will render your already patchwork histories extinct. A fifth ancient awakens, breaking free of his prison. He who is called Agamemnon. These ancients were meant to be the caretakers of the ley lines, the natural rivers of mana that flow throughout your lands. They, along with the druids, had held a duty that, if kept, would see to it that magic would work as it does in my homeland. These ley lines, however, were artificial, they're rotten from the beginning, the druids inept from the beginning. The souls of your ancestors confined to this broken land. These broken ley lines are the source of the maladaptive phenomenon known as exposure. In my home, no such thing exists. We walk alongside magic. And in your world, it quietly broke. A series of events happened. I'm unsure of the chronology, but I am aware of their validity. I will share with you these events. Perhaps you know more of how they happened or when they happened, but I will go down them. Agamemnon was sealed. The gods of this world were banished from your land. Demons arose, loyal to Agamemnon, and began opportunistically feasting on the souls of your people. Matheria rose to put an end to the demons, and killing all who would use magic, even the druids who were unknowing of their own incompetence. Matheria ascended into godhood, and fell into a stasis, trapped where her divinity was now being used as a mechanism to fuel the torch of an artificial holy light. Your recent history is better known by all of you, I assume, than I. Your genocides have bought you time, but now the time is up. The longer your ley lines exist broken, the more demons will be summoned, the more souls will be eaten, and when the ley lines are about to burst, the world will reshape itself, and all of you will be forgotten.
Alright, intimidation check, please.
Can I opt out of it?
What do you mean?
I just want to say, I don't want to affect their emotions.
That's how D&D works.
Okay.
No, you can. You can do that.
Yeah, I'd rather have their reaction be of their own, if that makes sense. Like I don't want to try to sway to them.
Sure. That being the case, your words fall harsh, true, harsh, but there are still those with skeptical faces, many that take your words at their face value. Carter, of course, needs no convincing, and you can see that he begins to supportively look around, seeing where he might aid himself. The Barrel King remains stoic, observing the others' reactions. The first to speak, however, is the stranger. The one that you don't know much about. Faustine Hightower. As a reminder, she's the one on the left. She will speak. Marlowe, was it?
Yes, you were Faustine?
Correct. Faustine Hightower, representative of the Saphirian Council. Specifically, I am here for many reasons. My agenda has caused quite the interruption from my absence. But it is not every day that so many influential people are within one space, especially under one that has purported to inform us of such doomed anthology. I mean no offense, Master Bard, but I find your statements to be convenient, to say the least. I see no evidence, other than your word, to be provided. Do you possess any? Some solid piece of evidence, perhaps, that this Agamemnon even exists? And furthermore, you have spoken as if you were alluding to something else. Something that sickens our ley lines, something that was placed here by the hand of man. And yet I sense that you do not mean any of us here. So I ask, who did this? Who controls this artificial light? Are you suggesting that it is this Agamemnon?
To answer your first question, I made quite a few claims. If it's specifically about Agamemnon, I will have to ponder on that for a bit to try to find what I would assume would be sufficient evidence for you. The second is there is one who is responsible for the, let's call it the broken architecture of your continent. But that man is long dead. He was a wizard of great power and potential. And now these are the remains of a failed successful experiment of his. I think the more you understand of this wizard, the less solutions will come up. But I'm open to sharing what I know.
You said it was a wizard. Do you know
yes,
where he is from?
He's a foreigner. In character, do I know?
You do not know of Malthus.
Malthus. Okay, cool.
Not yet. Well, I mean, in the library of
he's a
Kasael,
foreigner.
you saw the star map, so you know that Malthus is there, but you don't know that that's where Tyr is from.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is a foreigner.
You know the name Taladon, and the Taladani, rather. Continue.
Okay, yeah. He's a foreigner of a people known as the Taladani. His efficacy is that of a god. We are dealing with the remnants of an experiment by a god, effectively.
Faustine will look around the rest as if absorbing that information. The next to speak will be William Solace. He stands up as Faustine leans back to contemplate Marlowe's words. He will call out, "Good day to you all. My name is William Solace, representative of the Western Rebellion. I speak for Archdruid Leto. I hope that we might come to some agreement here about a few things, but the words that you speak, Marlowe of the Sand, well, even I be truthful for you, I take it's a bit of a problem, aye? As the dear Hightower state, it's hard to believe simply the words. You say that all of our problems stem from this mad wizard, yeah? Well, what I need to know is, and once again, I mean not to be acting the maggot or anything, but if in this person is true And if in your word be as it say, then his death means the experiment succeeded? What is the experiment? What do you mean by that, precisely, when you say that?
The experiment was one of a religious and esoteric, almost, scale that is like the will of a god. It revolved around a great enemy and the power of ambition, stoking of conflict, and the driving of the hunger for ambition and belief. These things are outside the realm of my understanding. I can give you an analogy if you like. It is like asking a god why they made the volcano that is about to erupt. I don't think your problem, if I may be so bold to speak as such, is who made the volcano, but rather that it is about to erupt, and you are living on it.
Aye, very well. I see the wisdom in your words. But let us say for a moment that you are to be believed. That the whole world within a decade, you say, will be gone. And all the rest of us caught out in the vapor. Well, if that's the case, then do you have any solutions? Certainly you know more than I.
Well, I will speak for myself, and then I would like to hear from the rest of the Carnelian Circle, as we have spent quite a deal of time thinking about this. But Agamemnon is the one responsible for reshaping the world. As it is broken, it is a natural necessity to do such a thing. Your mana is not behaving how it should behave. So, you can fix the ley lines, remove exposure from your continent, and by doing so, making Agamemnon's duty obsolete. I assume you will still have a vengeful ancient and demons plaguing your land. Well, perhaps not, but the immediate issue would be resolved. Either that or get rid of Agamemnon, and find a way to deal with these broken ley lines and the exposure. Marlowe will then look to the other members of the Carnelian Circle.
I would like to speak of the main issue, a location we believe where the breaking had occurred. The island to the north of your nation. The Isle of Mana, we believe, is the origin of where this breakage has occurred and where much of the sickness seeps through it into the other ley lines. Although it has also occurred to us recently that it has perhaps been brought specifically to other locations as well. Speaking of the sickness, so to speak.
Orlin La Dropta is a place where many are forbidden to go. It is a place of darkness and death. And you say that that is where this source is?
Yes, it was a place where he had done this wizard god he spoke of, had done many of his experiments. The death, the shadows, are his workings.
I see. He'll kind of lean back and contemplate what is being said. The next that will speak is Sir Ember Dane, the dwarven representative of Demon's Deep. He will stand. What's that?
Before he begins to speak as he stands, Marlowe will pull out the map of the ley lines, and he'll do a walk around to Aelin. He'll place the map on the table and gesture towards the rest of the group, and Aelin to hand the map around.
That's Davian Laton.
Oh, David.
Yeah, Aelin Trueheart's the.
Oh, shit.
Yes,
My bad.
passing it around. I was like, Aelin, but man, Marlowe jumps on the
Give it to
table
Dad.
and slinks towards him. Anyway, as the map is being passed around to those present, Sir Umberjane will speak. I'll be sure to take up not much of your time. As a representative of the Thanes, I have a few questions about what you have stated. For now, I shall put aside the obvious question of my people's claim to the city and how it has been denied to them. I have listened to your words, and I have found no wavering in what it is that you're saying. Which means that what you're saying must be true, at least as far as you know. If this wizard, as you stated, has caused so much damage, and this Agamemnon is a angered ancient, are you insinuating that there is a connection between them? Or is this simply a happenstance of the ley lines being broken? And furthermore, I would like to inquire, the druids might know of what is being spoken about, but I will admit that my knowledge of what the ley lines are is lacking. What even is a ley line, and how can it be broken?
The ley lines are the rivers of magic. They are like veins in an organism. They flow through the land and they provide the mana to all life on the continent. It is like a hidden ocean behind you. There are probably spellcasters, wizards of such that would know more about this than I would. But it is a natural force, typically uniform across the continent. The issue with your ley lines are that there's no conduit for the mana to flow out. They're bursting at the seam, rotted. To answer your question about Agamemnon and the wizard, he was certainly placed here by the wizard. At this point, I would assume that every mountain range had been placed here by this wizard's whim. Questioning the motivations or even the capacity of this person, I think it is something I'd rather not think about, and more face what he had left behind.
Very well. Then I shall take your heeded advice of not worrying quite so much as to the author of this story, but to see that it doesn't end prematurely. I am inclined to listen to your advice, but there are some practical problems that must be dealt with. First of all, if the ley lines are broken, how do we fix them? And if they are rivers and they are dammed, how do we ensure that they remain so? As he finishes this question, it is William who will stand up. What happened to you? Not to be interruptive, but you know, that is something that my people deal with. The dwarf will kind of scoff. Oh, and why haven't you been doing it then? Well, it's only a part of us being, systemically killed, murdered for existing. He'll flash some side-eye over at John Carter. But yes, it falls into the purview of the druids to maintain the balance of the ley lines, the great rivers of mana. But as it were, even if we wanted to, had the manpower for, the supplies to do so, to remake the circles would take... Well, it might take more than the 10 years you claim that we have. Once again, not that I want to piss in your vinegar, but... Do you have anyone here have any idea of what we might be able to do to solve them now? To fix them? Is killing this Agamemnon fellow really the best sort of action? As his question lingers in the air, the next person that answers will be Faustine. If I may. I believe this question as to what we shall do is too broad. I believe that it is better to separate this problem into the manageable pieces that are presented before us. Marlowe of the Sands, Master Bard, he and his companions of the Carnelian Circle have called us here, taking great risk to themselves in order for us to discuss what we must do. But I see that many of us still bear our stoic position of not to show thy hand first. Therefore, out of good faith to our hosts, I shall reveal mine. A terrible tragedy has befallen the free cities, and now that I have spoken with the Carnelian Circle, I suspect I know its cause, though before this day I did not. A great explosion of sickness wafted down from mid to southern from the ruins of Pride Lake. The sickness is running rampant throughout the people of the free cities. Part of my reason for being here is to seek aid in this regard. Now, it has been shown to me that there may be a culprit responsible. Therefore, I believe it is important that we target the pieces that we can manage and deal with it. I will admit, as she looks over to Marlowe, that your explanation, though broad and as thorough as I'm sure that you could have made it, still leaves one to answer many questions, such as, where is Agamemnon? You mentioned a fifth ancient. Are the other four also rising? Where are they? Is there any way to placate them, to bind them? I believe there is foreign magic that can do so. Is that the right route to go towards? I believe we should make a plan, and we should discuss as many details as we can. If we are to fix this problem, we must work together. As she kind of looks around, looking at everyone's faces. It is at this time that Davian Laton, the brass baron, will rise.
I was about to ask to incite him.
With a cocksure smile, he'll look out over the table, and he will say, Marlowe, was it?
Yes, Marlowe.
Your Carnelian Circle has done me a great good, and for that I am very, very gracious. But there are a few conundrums that I see before us. If the ley lines are broken, and they cannot be fixed, and our world is to disappear in 10 years, one cannot help but ask, what alliance could we make that would be believable by any and all in order to make such a thing work? The dear representative of the Council of Saphira is correct. We would not be able to perform any of this without working together, but I dare say that some will not pull as much weight as the others. Even this very place itself is only here because of my investment. He says, as he says that, you don't sense that he's bragging. He's being logical. I cannot help but look towards the needs of the people that live within the continent. For you are right. I agree. This place is in chaos. The chaos of lesser, weaker leaders constantly vying for power over one another. But I am not so foolish as to see that the true threat appears to be one of a, dare I say, existential variety. He will then lean forward. I would like more detail. As much as you can give, before I commit myself to any sort of discussion of a plan. The air is silent. What say the Carnelian Circle?
With all due respect, Mr. Pressbaron, I have no concern of the chaos of your, the political climate of this land. I am simply here to see that knowledge is restored. And I don't ask that you humor my sensibilities as a librarian or anything. If anything, suspend disbelief. However, we have traveled across almost the entirety of this land. We have learned many things. Our knowledge is very broad, and the depths are sporadic. If you have a precise question, I'm sure we could answer it for you. In terms of a plan, I'm not a strategist. I'm, as I said, a librarian. I am here to give you knowledge, and I entrust that you all see to it that you can use it to save your home.
As far as the purpose that we should hold, and what you might expect to do or work with us, is a collection of the knowledge of such the sickness, the ley lines, and to allow those around here to share that knowledge. As the good lady had stated, her land has been riddled with this same sickness. And she stated, believing it with a purpose, it is. Much of it is. Albeit, as stated by Marlowe, the man who had once truly controlled it all is gone, and its purpose is now without a handler, or if it is with a handler, one who has long lost their master and is now a wild dog. We ask all here, if they would, to assist us in ensuring, if nothing else, to cure the sickness, to repair the ley lines, and no more.
As each of the people present kind of look around, it is the Barrow King that speaks. What they ask for is a temporary truce that may lead us to actually be able to discuss a plan. Whilst the bard might not be a strategist, there are a few amongst us that are exceptional, if I do say so myself. Therefore, we should first agree that although it has been made clear that these are not peace talks, we must be willing to share the information granted by the Carnelian Circle amongst each other. As the Barrow King speaks his words, they fall kind of heavy, and you will see that several in the room kind of lean forward and nod, listening expectantly. The only one that really seems to resist is this individual. He doesn't like any of that. And so they continue. Well then, Faustine will speak. I shall begin. She will put her hand over her shoulder, and Grandmother Iron will hand her a dossier, and she will put it out on the table. I was informed that your Carnelian Circle holds a library of high regard, yes? And that the offerings of knowledge are to be shared by all?
He's AFK.
Hi.
Well,
Yes.
he's not the Carnelian Circle, guys. Any of you can
That's
answer.
right. It's
Yeah,
us.
yeah.
We do.
Very well. I offer this dossier, which will explain in detail the problems that Pride Lake has occurred from our agents in the field, specifically of the Abacus. They have encountered beings and creatures of a curious design, and they have even amongst them rumored to face strangers able to produce greater forms of technology. I have seen it, the reports firsthand. I believe that if there is this wizard that you speak of, and you say that he is dead, and yet we have heard reports of his presence active, the technology therein utilized. Are we certain that this wizard is dead?
Of that, we are truly certain. But, like any great being, he had followers. And perhaps they may have found a way to sustain themselves to even today. But, as stated, such a long existence will weigh on any mind, and I believe that these creatures, whatever they are unstable.
We have, in fact, met one such apprentice of this wizard. A fine-speaking fellow, but obviously, as Mr. Ninnoth has mentioned, lost some of his marbles.
It is believed that there are like 3 other main apprentices that served him, and if they are alive, they are most definitely as mad as the wizard himself.
We are currently in contact with a party of adventure detectives, capable individuals who are currently on the Isle of Mana, and they are interacting with this one of these apprentices.
Curious, then, that you should report such a thing. For I have received this report, and you will see that there is a report placed on the table bearing the mercenary mark of the Abacus. 2 of the Abacus have encountered a creature known as an apprentice as well. And she will slide the folder over to Marlowe to see.
Marlowe will pull out the map of the tier laboratories.
Yep.
And he will slide that over. The same gesture of like, hey, Brass Baron, this is for share with the class. You know what I mean?
You're right. And you better pass it.
I would like to exclaim very much so that these laboratories are filled with a madman's machinations. They will hold power, like all of you would think, but they are easily capable of destroying anyone who tries to wield them.
All right, give me a investigation check real quick, Marlowe, as I presume you look at the folder she offered you.
Yeah. Tracy's.
All right.
The fuck is an app?
As you take a closer look at the folders, you can see that the information provided describe a medical process. Two individuals were captured and experimented on. One had organs replaced within her chest, and the other had his eyes replaced. There are rumors that strange and miraculous changes overcame them. The reports indicate the term apprentice, as it is repeated. However, as you start to investigate, you think you see something in the report, but you can't quite make it out. A pattern that you've seen before. Prose, perhaps. Unfortunately, it eludes you for now.
I will hand it to Sewigg and try to focus back in on the conversation.
Okay. As you hand it away, the Brass Baron will start to overlook the map and will nod and will gesture towards his second as she begins to copy it with her scribe kit. The map makes its way around slowly, while Faustine will continue. It would seem that either this same apprentice has been spotted in multiple places, or perhaps that there are more than one. In either the case, that would speak to there being a presence, more so than within this Oilin Drakta, but rather that there are multiple spaces in which this sickness has taken root. Do we know how many?
Of those that call themselves apprentice, in truth, we know of 3.
You know of them. Do you have names?
Looking over. They are symbolic in nature, but it is the sacred, the impossible, and got it around. Does someone have the third?
Forbidden.
And forbidden.
All right. Each of them at present will kind of take in that information. And as this information sort of disseminates outwards, next one to speak will then be Ember Dane. He will stand, his hand on his axe. Well, if that being the case, then we have 3 enemies that we know that we must deal with, and as well as this Agamemnon fellow, this demon, as you say. Are there any others that we should bring to the axe? That is what we're speaking about, yes? Unless you think that there is a political path, diplomacy that might be followed. He asks earnestly.
The ancients are a being that can be found upon every continent. They are a duty-bound creatures to the land. This Agamemnon, although, like many of his other kin upon this land, were placed, crafted, or any other such, still hold the duty to the land. The reason that they will destroy this land is the sickness. They will not allow it to take this land, and they will simply destroy the sickness and all who live here to ensure that it does not continue. If we can communicate with them, explaining our intentions to stop the sickness, it is possible to stay their hand, but we have yet to make contact.
I might ask, do any of you here have a more intimate knowledge or connection with people that would have an intimate knowledge of the Anfanti religion? Mind you, I am a foreigner, and even the language took a while for me to pick up.
Faustine will speak. Well, there is one amongst the abacus that has shown himself as a propensity towards the knowledge of the Antvanti people. There are not many of their shamans that yet still remain. His constant commitment is perhaps something that can be explored. Would that be useful to you? Someone knowledgeable in the spirits of the natives?
I think it will be useful to our mutual lack of understanding about the ancients. The nature of their resting, the nature of the imprisonment of the fifth Agamemnon, perhaps any account or record of past conversations or prayers. If as the Thane had suggested, that there is a way to communicate with them or a political avenue to this, it should be through those who have the means to do so.
Very well. Then, as a part of my official act of compliance with the camaraderie that is formulating here, I shall seek an expert on the Antvanti peoples. She will look over her shoulder. Captain, I expect you to bring them to me. The captain will nod. It shall be done, my lady. She will look back over the table. And as we return back to the table, Ember Dane will continue. Why? So we have a few enemies, ones that we can make out for. Diplomatizing obviously would be better than just killing those that don't need killing. Save for this Agamemnon fellow. Demons is a demon, I suppose, aye? But I can't help but ask a straightforward question. What are we to do with all the church? And I do not mean this to be any disrespect to your sword, as he looks over to John Carter. You've been rather quiet. I'd like to know exactly what the church is planning to do, should we go through with any of this. Last thing we need is to put ourselves in an overextended position. I'm not willing to put me last city of me people out to dry, as it were, I think the human expression is. John Carter will stand. Noble men and noble ladies, I am Captain John Carter, Sword of Metheria, and I am a broken man. I have been shattered through pretense. I have been cracked from my beliefs. I have been forever changed by the whispers of truth upon my ear. I shall speak not as a sword of Metheria, but as a man raised amongst his kin. The church is schismed. It roils within itself, within its hypocrisy, within its earnest belief in good misshapen to evil. The sins of the church I have no authority to ask forgiveness of, nor, if I am honest, believe that it needs to be requested. But know this. My time with the Carnelian Circle has opened my eyes to the greater threats our shared world has. What's your character's Kalkateshian name, Marlowe? I keep forgetting it. Malfest?
Malfest, yeah.
Malfest, okay. Malfest of the sands of Mogitol is a dear friend and a trusted companion. He and the Carnelian Circle have done naught but tell you the truth this entire time. I see the hesitance in you. I see it. But I speak I speak on behalf of the downtrodden, of the forgotten. I saw many things when my eyes passed through the sacred colors. I cannot describe it to you except that there is more to our world than what you see before you. So very much more than the foreigner tales that you hear within the bazaars of Saphira, far more than the old tomes left over from the old settlers, visitors. He'll catch himself. Our world is sick. That much is true. Therefore, what will Mytheria do? Most likely nothing. No god will come to our aid. No goddess shall, in mercy, our beliefs, tend to our wounded prides and twisted ambitions. Nay, it will be by the hand of caring, tenacious, conscientious, and kind people. You are all in a position to do as such. Mytheria is part of the world. She must be saved along with it. As we all must be. That is my answer, Sir Emberdane. Carter will take a seat.
I'd like to propose a question. Barrow King.
The Barrow King
Lord
will turn his gaze towards you.
Lord Trueheart. I have long hypothesized about the logic one would have to use and convince themselves to commit genocides and to kill countless people of your home. And this betrayal you spoke of. I'm afraid we hadn't the time to get into the details, but something tells me that your daughter knew more about this than had been kept in record, or that we were led to believe. Is any of this news to you? Would you be willing to share it with us if it is?
Your words linger dangerously in the air. The Barrow King looks forward, his face a stoic mask. Everyone at the table finds themselves suddenly conscious of their own breathing, some holding their breaths. But eventually, the menacing aura of the Barrow King will soften slightly. He will stand and he will speak. To speak of my daughter's betrayal is painful. More painful than I can bear. But suffice, I shall say this. You may be right. I have contemplated long my hatred, my anger, my wrath. I was shown something different. My inset was captured. Something occurred that I had never expected. She was shown peace. She was spared. And then he will turn his gaze upon the orc standing behind William Solace, who you see is merely clasped his hands in a sort of at-rest prayer. And the Barrow King will continue as he looks up to the rest of everyone present. I know not the details of what occurred to my daughter past her betrayal. The time of my great sleep and my reawakening has left much of my memories from my first life difficult to parse. Parts that I do remember are of our argument, and I remember a flash of Violet, my daughter weeping, holding me, saying something. She was sorry, perhaps. Afterwards, I slept, and then I awoke. He will then look to the rest of the people present, and with great pain, he will continue. Is there a specific piece that you think is relevant, Marlowe?
It's just a guess. But these issues have been plaguing this land for 500 years. I assume she knew something about this. That the decision to erase entire peoples, I don't think comes lightly. And I think that it was a decision made that was educated, I assume, by something, and I can't put the pieces together. This is just an assumption, but I assume she knew about this. And I was, well, hoping to be correct, and that you, by extension, would as well. But,
I know only that she spent her time exploring the old places of our world. Ours is an old history, and she became fascinated by it, even as a child. There was perhaps one thing that may be relevant. There was a man that she spent much time with. I do not believe they coupled. I think she enjoyed his presence. I remember that I asked several times intentions. Admit that I was suspicious of him at first. But over time it became clear that there was more to it than that. He himself had an interest in the past, more specifically, the spirits of the Aunt Vonti. Perhaps that might be right. The Barrow King will think on it some more. It pains me to remember that I believe his name was Zyra. Zyra of the Hand. An orc. I know not if that is sufficient. I hope it will help.
Thank you.
Is there any other?
Broadlands.
Is there any other questions that press upon any of you?
Well, you'll see that the contingents of the table kind of look around at each other, and then it is Davian Laton that speaks up. Very well. It would seem that we have come to an accord at least to what our enemies are. These apprentices, this Agamemnon, probably the least diplomaceable of the Entvanti spirits. Perhaps the expert will know more. Well then, what shall we do to combat them? Yes? As he looks around the table. Does the Carnelian Circle have any suggestions?
One of the key elements, as stated, was the repair of the ley lines, which will be done upon the Isle of Mana. That will be one of the primary things that needs to be done. We suggest that any that can give support to any expeditions there and support the parties that are attempting to repair it. Other than that, the sickness that finds itself in throughout the lands is infecting the ley lines as well, and must be removed so that the ley lines may heal. At least they will stay broken, even if the isle is taken care of. And finally, the ancients. They must be either their hands stilled or removed, whatever we can achieve. My suggestion is that any information of this sickness is shared so that any may find cures, should be passed around, any information of the apprentices shared. And as for the ancients, well, I suggest that we all try to find these Advanti and see what they know. As unfortunately, as stated, our information is limited.
Faustine will speak. You needn't fear. Captain Felch will bring the Advanti expert here within a few weeks' time. You'll have your answers, as much as possible, I suppose. And I agree with your proposal that we should share our information. And since the Carnelian Circle has proven itself to be a politically neutral party, I see no other reason than to enlist you to do so. Information placed here to be shared freely. Does that sound acceptable?
He'll nod.
Wait, when she says you, is she looking at us?
Yeah, the Carnelian Circle.
Mm-hmm.
All information shall be stored, protected, and copied as needed. None shall be barred, and all may take as needed.
She will kind of look to each of the Carnelian Circle. Were you going to say anything, Luke, or was that just a clarifying question?
No, I was one. I was like, is she converting the whole table of Matherians to Ezekine? Like, what's going on?
No. Oh, shit. That's a sweep right there. That's what that is.
Single tier.
Single tier.
Marlowe, no.
At this point, someone will speak, and it will be a second, placing his hand on William's shoulder. An old man will approach. Pardon you, lords and ladies. I know I may not be no noble or nothing, but I'd like to say a few words if William would allow me. William will nod. I've heard a lot of talk about apprentices and about spirits and all of that, but I have a question. If you were to kill the spirits of the Advanti or still their hand or whatever that means, wouldn't you also be destroying and interfering with the culture of this people? Should that not be addressed? And I do not mean to take any offense nor cause it, but your statement of your political neutrality and that you also only wish to inform, not to act, I can't help but take as a... Well, why do it at all, then, if you would not want to act? I find it confusing. Alright, unless a player interjects, there is a response. And it is Captain Felch.
Is he proposing that towards the Carnelian Circle?
He's more so, kind of, to the table, all present, but yeah. He essentially, to kind of translate his position, the position that the Carnelian Circle has taken that it is not involved except as an advisory medium is something that he is kind of questioning. Not so much that you can't be trusted, but if you can act, why don't you? He views your commitment to be, as you said, whisper thin, right? Your conviction. And secondarily, his proposal is, if you kill the ancients, or steal their hand, or trap them, or whatever it is, would that not destroy the culture of the Antvanti people? That's what he means. And unless a player wishes to interrupt this man, Captain Felch will step up, placing his hand on Faustein's shoulder, who will nod.
Elrond Truefire, you are quite the hero. That much I understand. But I can assure you, the Antvanti culture won't be saved by these spirits. There are people that have long since failed as a culture and as a civilization. If their expertise could at all provide safe haven for those that live within the continent, I dare say they will jump at the opportunity to have relevance once more.
I will interject as well. Beyond this, Mr. Truefire, I would like to say that the Carnelian Circle, though we attempt neutrality, the purpose of our neutrality is for the greater whole of Corvinus. We are not all foreigners, and we do take interest in the survival of the continent and our world as a whole. There are certain things that we cannot predict the outcome of. And there are others still, many others still, that though we have made our attempts and our own moves, we could not hope to overcome and conquer on our own, which is the point of this meeting. We have brought together the leaders of every power in Corvinus we could gather in the hopes that you would join forces to save our home.
With all due respect, milady, Elrond will say, I find that to be suspect. You state that your neutrality is that you will do what is best for Corvinus, and yet I question the authority in which you get to decide what is best for Corvinus. Yes, you state that you would save everyone, and while I respect that, I cannot help but wonder that if the cost of saving everyone is to sacrifice a small population's existence, I do not find that acceptable at all. That is certainly a Mitherian method, I dare say.
Pardon my ignorance, but who is the small population you're referring to?
The Antvanti. You said so
And
yourself, to destroy their spirits or to curtail them.
It is a presumption that the death of Agamemnon will be the end of the force that will seek to upheaval the land. I do not know about the population of Antvanti, if they will die as well, or if a part of their culture will die as well, but I cannot speak to them.
If I may speak to my own statements. When I said stealing of their hands, I simply meant to ensure that they do not begin their continental destruction. That is their duty, should we fail
I am
I-
confused. Your companion stated that you know not of what their purpose is, or whether or not their people would be affected. But I dare say that the death of their gods will have a profound impact on their people. And I go by what you have said. Would you not kill the spirit if it meant to save the whole? Is that not what you're proposing with the fifth one? What if the others do not curtail to your diplomatic tendencies? I do not question your morality, at least not directly. I question, what will you do if they say no?
Pardon me, but I'm not suggesting that we kill the ancient Agamemnon. I'm saying that that seems to be the easiest option. Perhaps with newfound information we can talk to it, negotiate, keep it imprisoned. I don't know what the solution is. Well, as far as I've been here, my newfound expertise is finding problems. And in some way, that is the action that you're asking us if we are going to take. That is the actions that we have taken to uncover and learn more. Even moving forward, I believe that that is where we are best suited.
To that response, Elrond will ask, so it is your intention to find problems but not to solve them?
With all due respect, I cannot kill a god that I know little about.
I see. Elrond will step back.
Speaking of our neutrality, understand that it has a function. For if we had leaned one way, been more towards peace talks, anything of the sort, it would push many of you away. Or your actions, our actions, would be seen as swayed, and in the end, very well, our trust may be lost within a few of you. We cannot afford that, and so we take no sides.
At that moment, someone will speak up. This orc will approach and place his hand upon William to be granted permission to speak, and he will be granted it. Delegates in the Cornelian Circle, I am Mikael Grace, servant of Varen, the Crow Father. I entreat a simple moment of your time, that I might discuss what you have just said. You claim that these are not peace talks. Please understand, I find that to be difficult to believe, or rather, difficult to believe that they should not be. Peace is what the continent needs in order to deal with this problem. All of it is embroiled within war. Varen, God of redemption, has shown me this. And though you might not trust the word of a god, I implore you to listen to my words. I was once a sword of Mytheria. I killed because I believed it to be right. Innocent people, many people. I have turned away from this. I implore you to listen. Why should these not be peace talks? Surely you can maintain a sense of neutrality and still speak of peace. For if we lay down our swords from each other, then we can turn them to the real problem, yes? Surely this is the best method to do so. That is all.
Marlowe will raise his hand in like a stop motion. Please understand. We have called you here specifically because of your expertise and your capability. It is within this that I trust you to find the solutions and make the decisions for what you should do with your continent.
I would also like to know of this. Oh, you can still go.
I do not want to tell you what to do. I'm not going to tell you these solutions, or whether peace is the correct avenue to achieving your goal. We are here to show you wounds. It is up to you to decide whether or not they are fatal and if you should solve them. Marlowe will look to Gruul.
You spoke of a vision, yes? That peace is a necessity? If it is so important, then perhaps it should be shared.
Mikael will return once more to the forefront. If you do not wish to take the place to tell us to do peace, very well, then I shall do it. Listen all to my words. Spake unto me direct from the Father of Crows. In the vision that he showed me, I saw the world contorted and broken. Banners burned. People killed. Great droves, each nation fallen unto itself, beneath the eyes of a crackling, cackling shadow. The vision showed me too a piece of glass broken and shattered. Within it, the colors of split light dancing before melting away into grey glass. I admit that not all of it I understand, but I understand this. Peace is the only way to ensure that our people can fight to save ourselves. There is more. I know that there are those even at this very table that plan to strike others at the table. Swords, shields, all drawn. Even now, no doubt there is scheming within your minds of how best to exploit one another. Please, peace is the only way to ensure that Marlowe's words are not wasted. That the Carnelian Circle, who has shown us this demon on our doorstep, does not strike us while we wrestle with one another. Thank you. I'll take a step back. And with that, Captain Carter will stand. I, too, would like to add my words to Mikael Grace. Although I do not believe so greatly that peace can only be acquired by us putting our swords down, it is clear that if we do not turn them against the proper enemy, then we will simply kill one another. And to you, Elrond, the Antvanti people, if you ask me whether or not the lives of the few outweigh the lives of the many, any soldier will tell you that that is not the case. In war, people die. If we can avoid their deaths, we should. But do not let perfect be the enemy of good. The Antvanti, these
spirits that they serve obviously are a part of a greater purpose, a more intricate weaving than we are ever aware of. I know that the Carnelian Circle will unravel it and present us with the knowledge that we need to make the proper decisions for our people. The High Inquisitor has also revealed to me much that I am now ready to tell the Council. As a show of good faith to follow Vostine Hightower, the Church of Mytheria offers this to the Carnelian Circle. Alright, and he will produce a dossier depicting the infections occurring in the Pale City, the suspicions of Saint Altressa, and essentially all of the information about the aberrant nature that occurred in Dark Lake and places within Fort Frost. The whole shebang.
Can I attempt to compare the medical notes between her dossier and his dossier?
You guys are popping off right now, rubbing those brain cells together. Yeah. Say it again though. You guys talked over each other a little bit.
Oh, I will specifically look for the medical documents that will go over between these two and attempt to see how this infection is going between how it differs and the same what's the same between the two infections.
Where it intersects.
Does anybody in the Carnelian Circle have medicine trained?
I have expertise.
Excellent.
I will pull it out of Swigg's hand as he's reading it and hand it to Gruul.
All right.
What the mom on the mama's way?
Oh, mama's.
Let me roll. Where's you?
Is that a candle?
Is that a candle?
Yeah, it's just sitting in my lap.
Marlowe, you want to inspire me, bud?
This is dumb. Oh, wait, what?
Inspire me, please.
Yep. Yes. Once.
Blow some smoke in his face.
Lights his cigarette.
And
I don't breathe. It doesn't bother.
add 6 to it.
So an 18.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There are comparative notes that there are parts of the comparative notes that do cross lines with each other. First, the technology that is presented in order to process such a parasite to be invasive into the body and to escape while leaving the body alive is pretty advanced. I should remind you guys that those of you that are not foreigners are in the Middle Ages, where surgery is more deadly than the thing you're probably doing to get removed by surgery.
Remember when you lost your arm?
For the foreigners, specifically those from Calcatesh, this is the bleeding edge of what you know of advanced medicine. So oh god, how would I describe that? I'm not sure how much Luke knows about old medical tech, but how tubing,
rudimentary implants and stuff.
Like when tubing first came into the medical field, tubing,
Okay.
It's
yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Hacksaws?
No, not hacks, tubing, the ability to transport stuff inside and it has a term for it. It has a term for it, but anyway, it doesn't matter. I think you get what
I know what you mean.
Yeah. So you get to the edge of it, and to have access to such technology is evident of not something that anyone here has, and it means that these two things are most certainly connected, and most likely through Tyr's influence, or the influence of his apprentices, obviously. But there also is one other thing that you notice. They are focused upon the blood. It seems that the experiments done upon the two individuals of the Abacus by the apprentice, as well as the aberrant mutations discovered by Aether Trent and by Rhoda, all of them focused upon the vital fluids. Blood, but more specifically, the fluid found in the bones of the spine.
The technical knowledge needed to make these things would be astronomical. But seeing as they're both of about... it's difficult to describe, but whoever they were, or whoever made these, had to have been at least similar knowledge to make these.
I will,
I would...
I'll posit this. Apologies.
Yeah, look to you.
I'll posit a suggestion. It seems that this, what is this trinity of issues, the apprentices of the wizard, the
Confluence of issues?
conflict, the three, Trinity.
Trinity works, that's fine.
These issues, the Anvanti Ancients, Agamemnon, the ley lines, as well as the experiments. It seems that each of you are facing a front with these issues. Perhaps you can lean into your own people's self-interest and best interests and tackle what is most appropriate to you.
As words from the Carnelian Circle drift among those present, it is the Barrow King that will speak. He rises up from his chair, and then he will say, I, for one, am willing to put forth a truce. My inset has spoken to me of the kindness of Metherians, and Captain Carter's words have resonated with me. Following the neutral state of the Carnelian Circle and of those individuals who make it, I, Aether, sorry, he's not coughing. I am.
Me and I wouldn't put past.
Hang in there, buddy.
Yeah, he's undead. He just starts like maggots all over the table. Oh, sorry. Anyway, I, Aelin Trueheart, first King of Aldefieth, King of the Barrows, Lord of the East, offer my hand in peace, temporary, but a truce. There are greater threats than those that have been presented with us, and I believe that it is best that they are dealt with first. Do any of the rest of you at least agree to a temporary truce, that we may discuss more appropriately the details of these excursions, that our forces might be properly sequestered, and at the very least, preparations made? As he speaks, you will see that everybody present at the table will kind of look around at each other. Captain John Carner will stand. As a representative of the Church of Metheria, I, Captain John Carter, Sword of Metheria, do offer truce and peaceful terms, that we may rise up against our shared foe. William Solace will stand. By the power invested in me by Archdruid Leto, I too agree to these terms. Sir Ember Dane will stand. Oi! From the terms presented here, the Thanes of Demon's Deep would like to respectfully abstain till their servant has received more clear instructions. Faustine Hightower will speak. I, Faustine Hightower, representative of the Free Cities and Saphira, City of Sapphires, agree to this temporary truce. And then the brass baron lifts up his great brass fist and places it upon the table. And slowly he will look out over each of the individuals present. Out of respect for this Carnelian circle, I, Davian Latone, the Baron of Brass, I agree to a truce of temporary annulment of my campaign's advancement. I shall not encroach upon new targets until the terms of this truce and indeed this enemy within are dealt with. I will not, however, relinquish what I have already paid for in blood and brass and gold. Mornhow will be taken. As he looks over at each of the individuals present, it doesn't seem that anybody, though Carter certainly blanches at such a thing, disagrees. The Barrow King will then look towards the Carnelian circle and say, "And what say our good hosts? Does the Carnelian circle agree to these terms of truce?"
No. He'll nod, but wait for the rest.
I nod.
You are all welcome in Moazgadon. And with whatever is in my capacity to agree to such a thing, I do.
Looks at Sewigg. Looks at Veneth Tyr.
Sorry, I was waiting for everyone, but I would not.
I too will nod in agreement.
It is settled then. We abide by this. We'll follow through.
At that point, the Barrow King will state, "So be it. By the axiom," he'll pull out a dagger and stab it into the stone table, which Laza kind of panics a little bit that he does that. Because Laza just finished polishing that. Axiomatic power will pour out from the dagger, creating a binding in Fey upon the stone. Let this dagger remain until our truce has ended. Okay, and I think that's a good place to stop right there, guys, because I have a fucking huge headache. Like, I've been processing so much information in my head.
Nah, it was great. It was great.
Big glass of water for this
But yeah.
man right here.
That way we can finish up with the details of you guys meeting with the different leaders and like deciding what you want to do next. But we got through the bulk of it, I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time doing that. My head is killing me now.
No, it was awesome.
Oh, so
So much stuff.
And Luke, it was solid. I think that means he likes it.
Rock solid?
I don't know if I like things.
Oh my god, here we go.
Oh man.
You just don't understand me.
Especially that.
What about women touching you randomly?
I
in public?
swear to God.
Twilight Mouse just been inching closer
No.
just to give you a hard time.
Nothing but the warmth of a home that isn't mine and just the pure adrenaline of anxiety at the same time.
Oh my god.
Is it a candle?
Is that
Yeah.
a candle?
A candle? Yeah, she just has it in her lap.
I was.
It looks
Yeah,
like we
light
got
up
some
my
fan art
stitching.
from Waymaker.
This is the
Yeah.
Carnelian Circle.
Oh.
And a halfling that we just picked up.
Oh
It
shit.
was named the Carnelian Circle after I was here, so.
Oh,
I
shit.
like that.
Yeah. I gotta print it out.
Yo, poster.
I love the big old.
Oh shit. Nice.
Wait, is this like an actual comic thing, or is this just a cover for it?
No. It's just a
Cover.
poster that I've been.
Okay.
I was trying to do a movie poster type thing.
A Corvana subplot.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
With the Lantern Bridge Extended Universe.
The
Yeah. That's the cinematic universe.
Why is Marlowe?
The Marvels.
Like Marlowe looks disinterested. I don't want to.
I feel like that
Why
is
would he not be?
accurate. An accurate
he's just-
representation.
Lore accurate Marlowe's. I
Whoops.
I don't want to make decisions for people.
He's just looking wistfully at his father.
At his
kinda.
dad. He's just looking over it. The things I would do.
I didn't even notice. Oh my gosh. There he
All right.
is.
Good stuff, guys. Awesome job. You guys are great. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for supporting the channel. We'll pick it up tomorrow with a brand new stack of games. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Oh, nope. Okay.